Hey guys, what is up? We are continuing our practice 100% walkthrough. So we are all ready to fight the twin princes, which is extremely exciting. But before we do that, make sure you go ahead and burn that undead bone shard. So at this point we now have max Estus in terms of how much it heals you, and we have max in terms of how many flasks we have. So we have 15 healing flasks, which is just a ridiculous amount if we're being honest. So for the boss attempt, because of the path that we've decided to walk and we've set up those elevators, we are going to want to go ahead and go to the Lothric bonfire. Actually, for a walkthrough, this is why we're doing a practice walkthrough, so that I can insert things like this into my notes, because I said go to bonfire and it doesn't make it entirely clear. But for this, we are actually going to want to start at the Dragon Slayer armor bonfire, because it's a shorter run and there's no enemies between us and the bonfire, or us and the elevator that'll take us up to the boss fight. And you don't want to take any damage before this, because this is the boss fight that technically blocks you from reaching the last boss in the series, or in the game, the last mandatory boss I should say. So you're going to want to go to Dragon Slayer armor. Apologies for that gaffe right at the beginning of the episode. I could just start over, but I'm not going to. That's silly. Part of the practice walkthrough is to have gaffes like that. That's why it's in the description of the videos. Be ready for my struggles. I'm struggling. Can't you see? So, for this boss fight, we're fighting the twin princes. I do want to go ahead and talk about their weaknesses. So they are weak to lightning, frost, magic, but Lorien, who's the big guy, we saw him in another episode, but he's the big dude that will fight first, and that's magic. And then Lothric is the crippled guy hanging onto Lorien's back. He is super weak to physical. They are both resistant to dark. So if you have a dark build, just infuse a weapon with chaos and you'll be just fine. And then they are both immune to poison and toxic, so be aware of that. Other than that, the only change that we're going to want to make to our character is, actually let me go ahead and put back on the life ring. So this is my ring setup: Prisoner's Chain, Life Ring, Havels, and Ring of Favor. I'm rocking black iron leggings, gauntlets, armor, and helm. I can get a little bit beefier, but first I want to go ahead and throw on the Dragon Crest Shield, and as you can see, maxes out my weight ratio, so that is why I'm doing that. So the Dragon Crest Shield is better for this boss because it is 100% physical, and we're going to be taking a lot of hits to the shield. And the guy Lorien has fire damage to his weapon, does quite a few fire moves. So, oh, and the elevator's going down. Oh, that's just the worst. Anyway, those are their weaknesses. So if you have a faith build, you are good. If you have a dark build, you are super not good. But fortunately, dark builds are just 30 faith and 30 intelligence. So all that you have to do to fix your problem is just get a chaos infused weapon. Has the same quality scaling as a dark build, but of course they are not resistant to it, so you're good to go. Okay, now let's reset this elevator, send that one on down, and the real elevator is coming on back. Okay, so with that taken care of, for the boss fight itself, the first phase is not bad. The only thing you have to look for is when the boss, you try to stay behind the boss, is what we're going to want to do the entire first phase. But occasionally he will go ahead, take his sword in two hands, lift up, and nice shining white of God is going to form around it. When you do that, you wait till he slams it down, and then you roll once to the left or the right. It does not matter, you just got to roll as soon as he slams it down. You will not take any damage. We sent that down very nicely. So just let these enemies walk down, they'll walk away, and we'll be good to go ahead and summon Orbeck of Vinhelm. Orbeck does magic damage, which of course destroys Lorien, which is why we're summoning him. If you have to choose between him and Cirrus, which you should if you finish Cirrus's questline, like you should in every playthrough, unless you are creating a PvP character that is a weeb, and you want the weeb bow, which of course required, we talked about that earlier, and we're not even going to discuss it anymore. Okay, we're going to go ahead, summon Orbeck. Make sure you just, as soon as he comes in, he starts walking, just walk away. He's going to go ahead and follow us. We don't want him to aggro any of the enemies, or, just run off, start fighting. So he is better than Cirrus. Cirrus' summon sign is right here. You could summon them both. You don't want to do that, because every time you summon, it increases it, so it increases the boss's health. So if you go in by yourself, that's normal boss health. You bring Orbeck, doubles the health, but Orbeck is worth it. But tripling the boss's health, not worth it, especially with Cirrus, because Cirrus doesn't have Estus. She has to get off a spell, which she rarely does. Typically, she tries to heal, and then she dies. Orbeck has Estus, which makes him very, very valuable. He also does magic damage, so he destroys Lorian's health. The one thing I do want to take a minute to talk about before we head into this room for the boss fight is Phase 2. Phase 2, Lothric, who you can see, he's the figure sitting up there on the throne. That dude, when he comes down, he starts riding Lorian's back. Lothric will start spewing out what is kind of similar to... I'm trying to remember the other boss's name. But essentially a bunch of white specks. Similar to Aldrich. Except Aldrich's are purple and his are white. Those things will mess you up, but all you have to do is move and roll, and they'll all miss you. The other thing he will do is he will shoot what is essentially a crystal soul spear, but is like a divine soul spear. That will wreck your health, and if you die in this fight, typically it's because you either have panic rolled and just been really freaked out by the boss, and you're panicking, and that's normal. It just means you need to get more attempts in. Or you get caught by one of the soul spears, and it just eats away all of your health. And there's not much you can do about that. Just be ready to roll, and if you're behind the boss, it doesn't matter. That's why I like to stay close to this boss and just stay on their butt. You know, just ride their butt and you will be just fine. Also, in Phase 2, when he's on the back, if you're behind and swinging, you will do damage to both bosses. So that's super cool. And every time in Phase 2 that Lorian goes down, he gets resurrected with less health. Typically, he only gets resurrected twice, sometimes 3 times, but the third time he dies super quickly because he has, like, I think maybe 40% of the health that he starts with. So just be aware of that. So now me and Orbeck are going to go in and hopefully just tank this boss for you. One thing to note, I am out of green blossoms. I would not recommend going into this fight without green blossoms. I have 29,000 souls, so I could get a ton of them. So I'm very stupid for not remembering to buy them, but I am going to go ahead and throw the budding green blossom on to my quick bar, and then as I walk in, I'm just going to take this one. Okay, so dead sprint in. Cutscene's gonna start. Pretty cool cutscene. I'm gonna let it go for about a minute.
Welcome, unkindled.
I got my Samuel Adams, so I'm gonna be drinking some of that while this is going.
Mind you,
if you're playing this game, you're an adult, and so you should be drinking some beer for a fight like this. You're gonna need it. First time this guy, he hurts as a boss, but first time through, almost always. Bleed builds are actually pretty effective, so you can riposte Lorian, who's that dude with his fiery sword and blind eye. So he actually crippled himself for his brother, so they have a pretty cool story. Lore-wise, you should look at it. So lock on and get that shield out. As you can see, ooh, can roll all of his hits, but rolling's kind of hard. But as you can see, magic, Orbeck tends to aggro the crap out of the boss. You want to maintain aggro because you are way beefier than Orbeck. Okay, whenever he disappears like this, anticipate. Nope, that time. Oh, I drank instead of rolling. You can just roll that, or you can just space it. Doesn't matter. As you see, Orbeck's out there drinking, which is good on him. Orbeck's also casting spells that do frost damage, which is just awesome. Thank you, Orbeck. You are the best. I love summoning Orbeck in this fight. As you see, just taking hits on the shield. And as long as our stamina... Oh, so you could have riposted him then. I just kept swinging because he was almost dead anyway. Keep that shield out. And just keep circling. Stay on the booty. When he comes down, as long as you're on the booty, you shouldn't have any problems. Just look out for that spear and try to stay at full health as much as you can, and you'll be just fine. You really don't need to freak out during this. Remember, do not panic roll if you get too stressed out. It's fine. Take a deep breath, and if you die, it doesn't matter. Stay calm. This boss is not actually that scary. He's fairly slow. If he feels fast, it's only because you're panicking. Just stay calm, stay behind him, and trust in Orbeck killing Lorian. He's weak to magic, like I said. That's why we wanted Orbeck in for this fight. Right? That's why we summoned him. So, we brought Orbeck in. Orbeck's going to kill the boss. Nice, easy, deep breaths. We're going to be just fine here. So Lorien gets resurrected. Do not panic. It is just fine. Same thing. Stay locked on because he's going to be teleporting around. And as long as you're locked on, typically your lock on will help you turn to face where he goes. Other than that, just keep moving. Stay on that booty and you will just be fine. Remember, if you are not an ass man, why are you playing Dark Souls? It's all about the booty in this game. God, it does look kind of badass though. Okay, where is he? There he is. There are all the white things. They're going, oof. No. Give me that health. Okay, so Orbeck once again champion for us. Thank you, Orbeck. And holy cow. Oh no, what am I doing? I just need to take my budding green blossom. Drink. Okay, here Crystal Soul Spear is happening. Oh, well, we're good. Okay, he teleported close. We're good. Ooh, he came behind me. There, now we could riposte him, but we missed it, so it's fine. So Lorien's, oh god, always block during that, even if it doesn't matter, just because it'll take some of the damage off. So Lorien's down. You can typically get 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then get out of there. Roll. There you go. As long as you get out of there, you miss the AoE and you're just fine. Get that shield back out though. Look out for that. That will shield break you if it hits you. Doesn't hurt like horribly though. And I'm gonna show you a boss. Just get around in front of him, attack once. Does really good damage to Lorien. Go sit down, please. Okay. So now you can do 1, 2, 3, and 4. Oh, and he died. Okay. So as I said, you typically only need to kill him twice, but occasionally he will come up for a third time. So as long as you stay calm, it won't be a tough fight, particularly if Orbeck's along. Orbeck is just a complete manimal in this fight, which is great. You know, we spent quite a few souls buying all of his things so that we can bring him into the fight. Got the final cinders of a lord. So we're good to go. We did it. Woo! Let's go. So, go ahead. Light the bonfire. So now that we have it, we have to do a couple of things. First thing we have to do is go on back to the Grand Archives. We have to get Orbeck's ashes. So, once you kill the Twin Princes, if you completed his questline, he will die. And he will die doing what he wants, and that is reading books, I guess. So, we're going to go get his ashes. And then we will also finish Cirrus's questline, and because Cirrus is dead at the end of her questline, then we are good to go ahead and do the one questline that we've been waiting, that is Leonhard's questline. So we will knock both of those out in this episode. So once you kill the Twin Princess, she's just back at Firelink, so you don't have to worry about her at all. We are going to go ahead. Don't drop off into this hole. I'm ashamed of how many times I have sprinted for this elevator only to sadly fall to my death. But I don't even know why I'm setting this elevator up, because it is not the one you want to take. You actually want to come inside. You want to take the other shortcut. And my phone is making noises. That is not appreciated. Okay. Drop one down. Thank you, fighter. You know, these guys are much easier to kill than I'm sure that Fighter PL is. He's probably fairly decent at PvP based on the fact that he produces PvP videos every goddamn day. Anyway, take this elevator on up. And we're going to buy blossoms with these 93 souls. I'll level up once. But other than that, I want my goodies more than anything else. The consumables are very important to me. So, his ashes are right there in that very fancy chair. So you don't even have to kill any of the enemies. You just run on over. Pick up his ashes. You turn around. So they might aggro you. Totally fine. Just run away. And then I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to use an undead bone shard. Or a homeward bone. I'm so sorry. I misspoke. So, Shrine Bonfire. Just go ahead. Head on back to Firelink. We're going to get Cirrus's questline locked out, and then we're going to get Leonhard. Leonhard's is super cool, especially if you have a Dex character. Leonhard's pretty cool just because his armor set is dope. He has the cool mask, which I had an entire character built around a katana, and his mask, which was just a blast. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and give her Orbeck's Ashes.
As by now there isn't.
Okay, so at this point, we should be able to get a couple of things. First of all, ooh, no, not that. We could already get that. Should be Cirrus's armor, should be here. Yes, Cirrus of the Sunless Realm, so the Sunless armor set, that is hers. And then Orbeck's armor set, I forget what it is called, and I didn't put it in my notes. Oh, man. I'm mad about that. But you can't get Lorian's set, so Lorian's helm, if you want to wear that and do PvP to upset one particular YouTuber, you can. Just be careful if you're bowing and then ganking with this helm, people get mad because you are disrespecting that person. Not going to reference that because somebody told me you don't want to mention other people's stuff. Clandestine set, maybe? Might be the Thief Mask. It's the Clandestine coat. Yeah, that's it. Clandestine coat. That's what we got from it. Awesome. So, I did find it. Clandestine coat. Anyway, we did it. Now time to go get Cirrus's drop. So her drop is at her grandfather's grave. This is a great time to actually go ahead and take a left. First things first. And kill this doggo. And double check this grave. I've mentioned it a few times, but always be double checking that grave. And the reason I do that is because my first few playthroughs, I constantly missed the item that ended up showing up there. But you can see here, there's an item down there now. That is Cirrus's drop down at her grandfather's grave. Man, what a nice view. So cool. This whole place is just gorgeous. I do love this game quite a bit. Anyway, backstab on off the cliff and get you the Sunless Talisman. Very nice talisman. Anyway, we are going on up. If you're looking for cosplay builds, Cirrus's cosplay build is actually a really fun one. Just rock her armor set, use Dark Moonblade. It's quite a bit of fun. Anyway, so okay, I do want to level up now. I'm gonna level up, and then I'm gonna blow the rest of my souls buying stuff that you probably don't want to. You're probably better off just getting 2 levels, but I'm just gonna get 1. So we are up to 29 endurance. And then rather than a level, I'm going to buy all the stuff that I want. And then if I don't want anything else, so I always want 10 of these. Always 10 green blossoms. If you don't have 10, I would recommend it. And then I want 40 of these, because throwing knives are always useful, just as arrows are always useful. Get 40 of those. I don't need any of those. I can't buff my weapon, so I don't care. And I want 4 of these because I want 10 homeward bones. That's all that I want. Between Black Iron and Faram, that's really the only armor sets that I want. And then I don't have any more goodies.
Be careful.
Okay, so now to go ahead and continue Leonhard, because Leonhard's still sitting up there. He's going to keep telling you to give yourself to Rosaria. So that means that you want to go to Rosaria and give yourself to her. I'm going to clean up my inventory, so Budachi is gone, Spear is gone, Wing Knight Halberd, and the Whip all gone. And then we're going to go ahead and travel all the way back to Cathedral of the Deep, Rosaria's bedchamber. So there's going to be a slug in here that we're going to kill. I'm not 100% sure what the slug represents. Maybe it's just because you killed the... I don't know. We're going to kill him. He's helpless, but he shuts down the bonfire, so you can't leave from this bonfire if you don't kill him, so I always kill him. He's shutting off my bonfire, man. So what he drops does suggest that if you are a follower of Rosario, that you turn into a slug. So here's Slugman. Hello, Slugman. He does not attack you, but I'm going to kill him. So you kill him, you get Heisel's pick and the Xanthius crown. So that really suggests that if you follow Rosaria, you become a Slugman. Slugman. Anyway, just so you know, Rosaria is just the woman. The slug monster thing is wrapped around her. She's comforting it. Chances are she's actually Guinevere from Dark Souls 1. And if you question that, look at the chest. So, anyway, We are going to talk. We're going to ask to join her covenant because Sirius is dead and there's no penalty at this point. So we are joining the covenant, Rosaria's fingers, and then you will offer 1 pale tongue. Yay! We actually could have gotten a level, but doesn't matter. What we're going into, we have no fear of losing souls, so don't even worry about that. Now, we're going to come over here. We're going to talk to him.
But be Rosario, otherwise.
He is going to talk to him. Go ahead. Expend all of his dialogue. He's going to tell you not to try to have a bromance like some people. Okay, so we're good. Now at this point, what we're going to do is... Actually, it might work if we just rest. If it doesn't, we're going to use a homeward bone to reset the world state. So rest at the bonfire. Did not work. So you need to reset the world state. So go ahead, just use a homeward bone. It's the easiest way to reset the world state. I think a quit out would also work, but homeward bone it is. Just use bonfire last rest to that so you don't go anywhere. And Rosaria is actually going to be dead. There is no change. While she is dead, you can still respec your character, level up your covenant, you can do all the good stuff, but she's just laying down. So don't even think about trying to revive her. Instead, you're going to be able to pick up a black eye orb, go kill Leonard for killing Rosaria. One thing to note, some people will feel tempted to do that in your first 2 playthroughs. If you do 7 playthroughs and you do all the side quests for 7 playthroughs for some reason, that's fine. Revive her all you want, but you want what her soul gives you. So, pillage remains, black eye orb. Okay, now if you come back to the place where we can talk to her, you examine. And as you can see, you can still offer pale tongues, reallocate attributes, and alter your appearance. So, there's no real reason to revive her because you can still do everything and you want what her soul gives you. But we don't have her soul yet. We got to go get it. And the way you go get it is you go to Aldrich's bonfire. And this is why it's almost certain that that is Guinevere, both because her soul gives you one of Guinevere's miracles, and you got to go to Guinevere's bedchamber in order to fight Leonard. So, at this point, all of Gwyn's children are dead by the end of this game, if you're following what I do, which to some degree is actually sweet, but also sad. So as I said, you cannot lose your souls here. Also, if you lose this encounter your first time, that's okay. I might, honestly, like I'm not even joking. There's a very real chance that I just lose this fight. But you just run into here. And you black eye orb. You have unlimited attempts at this quest. So we're going to go fight Leonhard. He's a tough fight. He will parry the crap out of you. He has a weapon that's weapon art. Allows him to do a spacing attack. So he basically launches a green blast at you with it. And he's pretty punishing all around. If you are a very new player or you're doing a dex build and so you can't stagger lock him, oh, good luck. If you know you have 15-20 playthroughs, then you've already done this and it's a joke. But black eye orb, go ahead, unlimited use. Go ahead and use it. Invade the world of Rosaria's killer. So we are knocking this out. This is definitely, it's tough regardless, just because you can get caught and killed because he punishes Estus use with his weapon art. But realistically, this is not that tough of a fight, and there's no risk to it. And any fight in this game that's no risk, screw it.
Well, never expected to see you here.
If I do die once,
Sorry for the poor thing,
actually,
her festering glory, and now you want to wrap. I so
hold on.
sigh.
Here we go. I'm swapping to the Murakumo for fun. There's no practical reason. It's actually extremely impractical. Leave me alone with your magic.
No one to spoil her soul. Certainly no beast wrapped in human skin.
Oh!
Blessed Rosaria.
I love the Murakumo. That was the weapon art into the power attack, into the heavy attack, in case you were wondering. So, quite a bit of fun. I didn't expect the Murakumo to work that well. if I had known it would work that well, I probably wouldn't have done it, because this is supposed to be a walkthrough. In a walkthrough, you try to show the moveset as much as you want, but regardless, go kill him. As you can see, the Murakumo's weapon art works really well, so now you have a strategy. For killing him, you get the Soul of Rosaria, which you can use to revive Rosaria, or you can get stuff for it. So we're gonna get stuff for it. You also get the Crescent Moon Sword, which has the weapon art, which sends out a green blast, and the Silver Mask, which is super cool. So just to show, I don't know if I can actually show his weapon art. Yes, we can. That is the perk of a quality build. You can demonstrate just about any weapon. So, weapon art. As you can see, if you had a shield that allowed you to go straight into the weapon art, you'd be able to demonstrate it. Fast move set. But yeah, has pretty decent range. It doesn't do great damage. It did in his hand, but it's technically a curved sword, and curved swords are fun to use at the very least. So I'm not running back. I would recommend you just go back to the bonfire, but I'm just going back to Firelink Shrine. So if you're wondering what we're going to do in the next episode will actually be in an optional area, and that will be lots of fun. But for this, we're going to get Rosaria's soul. We're not taking it back to Rosaria. We're going to get stuff for it, and that'll be the end of it. And then we will go to Archdragon Peak, which is a very fun optional area, which should be taken out before the end of the game. Even if you don't want to kill the last boss there, I would recommend going, because you get all sorts of upgrade materials. But I'm going to show you a really easy way to kill the last boss of that area, so you don't have to worry about it. Okay, so we now have 2 boss souls. Boss soul number 1 is the soul of the Twin Princes. So there's 2 swords. Just so you know, if you do 2 playthroughs of this game, you can combine these swords. So you get Lothric's Holy Sword and Lorien's Great Sword. Combine them into a just Prince's Sword, and it is badass. But for our current build, we're going to want Lorien's Great Sword. And then next playthrough, you should just go ahead, pick this up, and then you come back to this guy, and he will combine them, and it's cool. Anyway, the only thing that you get with Rosaria's soul is Bountiful Sunlight. And if you show item info, it is a special miracle granted by the Princess of Sunlight. The miracles of Guinevere, loved as both mother and wife, bestow their blessing on a great many warriors. So that is why people think that Rosaria is Guinevere. Anyway, I'm going to pick that on up.
I took the mantle of...
Yes, I know. You took it of your own volition. Good for you.
Welcome.
So we're going to come over here.
Very well.
We are going to go ahead and level up. We're short by 1,000. Okay. Leave me alone. I don't know how many this... Okay, 2,000. That'll cover me.
Welcome. Very well. Then
Level on up. And I'll put this into strength.
farewell, Ashen One.
If you were wondering, the final soul level that this build goes to is soul level 112, and at that point I would recommend putting it into getting beefier armor. But you can put it into whatever you want at that point. I don't know why I did that out of reflex. So the next episode is actually going to begin at Irithyll Dungeon. Yeah, Irithyll Dungeon. So I'm going to go ahead and warp there. We'll start the next episode there. We'll go ahead, get to Archdragon Peak, go through the first part of the area, at least get to the first bonfire, probably deal with the first boss there. And yeah, that's a great area, especially because it has all sorts of upgrade materials, particularly chunks. If you want chunks, you got to go to Archdragon Peak. That's where it's at. You can also get Havel's set if you want to just be a Havel monster. But yeah, lots of cool stuff. So that's it for this episode, guys. Thanks for continuing to watch my practice walkthrough. I really do appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to making the refined one, because I do think that I figured out audio and video to a pretty good degree. I still am missing a good mic, still rocking that $20 microphone, but all in all, I think it's turning out pretty well. I'm kind of proud of it. So that's it for this. Thanks for watching, guys.